So this is how this works. Here's your stomach. And here's the small intestine, and there's your large intestine. And there's 9 stomach busters, we call them. And they are coffee, regular tea, alcohol, sugar, chocolate, salt, preservatives, artificial sweeteners, and tobacco. And so those are the 9 busters. And to add to that, we've got prescription drugs and things like aspirin, and also stress. So those are the things that are the hardest on your stomach. And we know that, too much coffee, yeah, your stomach's not going to feel well. Too much alcohol, your stomach's not going to feel well. Too much of any one of those things will make your stomach feel uncomfortable because it shocks it. Now there's specific nutrients that the Chinese, for example, took 5,000 years to figure out. So they figured out what foods are on your digestive system shopping list, and your circulatory system shopping list, and your immune system shopping list. So they knew what foods to provide the body every day so it could be strong and healthy. Where over in the West, we eat for taste. We look at our food choices as, wow, I like green peppers in my salad, and I like this and I like that, and that's how we make our choices. Where over there they focused on what food does instead of how food tastes. And so over there they have these system-specific foods. And so this will decide whether or not your body will regulate or regenerate. And what regenerate means is when, let's say you cut yourself and it heals. And we're just used to this, but the thing that you can take that to a much farther extreme, where why can't your body fix its liver, and why can't it fix its large intestine, and why can't it fix its pancreas and its immune system, etc. And it can. And that was one thing that our body can do that the Chinese figured out, is your body can regenerate itself of almost anything. Where in the West we assume we have to go to the doctor to achieve that and take medication and allow something else to fix us. And so this is the major thing that people need to understand to become healthy. So I want to draw you a picture. It'll take you to the next level. It starts off by understanding that how different health conditions are affected by something else. So for example, here's your nervous system. And so that's a nerve, and that's the myelin sheath that goes around the outside. And often in a case like Parkinson's disease and MS and MD and fibromyalgia and Lou Gehrig's disease, etc., there is an attack of some sort on your nervous system. And so the attack is coming from somewhere. Where is it coming from? It kind of looks like that. And it'll just come through there, and it'll just chop those your nerves right off, which stops the flow of communication that goes through those nerves. Now, and that could show up as like vibrating tremors, could show up as the loss of a limb, of being able to use it. It shows up as in many areas. But it's coming from the organ that goes right before that, which is the spleen. The spleen. And your spleen tells your T cells what to do. And your T cells are what attacks foreign cells that come into your body. That's part of your immune system. And you don't want them on your bad side. So your spleen tells your T cells what to do, and if your spleen is totally full of toxicity and not functioning properly, it starts giving your T cells garbled messages. And they can attack your joints, like in MS, and they can attack your nerves and many of these diseases. And also when your spleen is so full of toxicity, because it's the tail end of your filter system, then toxicity starts slipping past the spleen as well, and that starts raising a major havoc with your nervous system. And that also goes through there and severs that off and just stops the communication. So this is where the problem of the nervous system is. So can we take a pill for the nervous system and get it to work? Not really, not until we deal with the spleen. And the spleen didn't have a problem all by itself. It took something else feeding it before it got that way. And it's fed by your circulatory system. And it's also fed by your lymph system, which it's the tail end of. So your lymph system there's as much fluid in that as your blood system. and your lymph system is fed by your colon. And so our large intestine looks, well, a little bit different than that, but there's a small intestine and a large intestine. And our nutrients are absorbed from our small intestine, especially up into our liver, like that. And it also comes from the large intestine. And the lymph system starts filtering right here before it even gets to the liver. So it's from your portal vein. And so now this is what your lymph system is filtering. And so you're getting the toxicity through this way to the spleen, and you're also getting it from your liver. And it's a combination of toxicity from what you eat, from what you absorb through your skin, and the toxicity that comes from your colon. And just so you know, which I'll talk a little bit later, but there's 78 chemicals that come from the rotting mass that sits in your colon, and especially undigested protein. And so we're talking chemicals like alcohol and methane gas and formaldehyde. Those are produced right in your own colon. And for people who don't think this is real, if you've ever seen the show Blazing Saddles, where they're sitting around the fire, they're burning their gas, like that's a real thing. I've seen people burn their gas before. It burns a bright blue flame. And this is produced in your own body, and it doesn't just go into the atmosphere, it's absorbed up into the body, and so it starts toxifying the body. And the poorer the digestion is, the worse it is. But the thing is that this is a problem, but why is it a problem? It's a problem because something else has a problem, and that is your stomach. Poor digestion with low digestive enzyme has a very difficult time breaking down your food, and the more undigested food you have, especially your proteins, it comes through here and it just layers. It layers in your colon and just sits there and rots and ferments. So it all goes back to the digestive system. And why is the stomach weak? The stomach is weak because of your diet. So health is not that simple, but yet it's very predictable. It's very predictable. If you do certain things, it's going to fall apart. If you do certain things, it's going to be great. It's as simple as that.